New Acquisitions at RELIC, a survey from 1799. In the summer of 2020, as RELIC was moving into new quarters in Manassas, the Central Rappahannock Heritage Center in Fredericksburg offered us some documents that they had recently received. Most of them were Prince William County surveyors' plats from the early 20th century, but one had more historical interest. It dated back to 1799. Why was this document in Fredericksburg, and how did it get there? A note on the reverse from John P. Burns of Brooklyn, New York, dated August 1913, stated that he was a private in the 95th Regiment of New York Infantry in the Civil War. About June 1862, Burns was at the courthouse, which he called near Brook Station, Virginia. Bristow Station is intended, since the courthouse at Brentsville is where this document was found. I picked it up in the courthouse, where vandals had scattered all the legal papers on the floor. Mr. Burns may have been referring to the clerk's office, which was demolished during the war, the place where county legal papers were normally stored. In October 1863, the 10th Massachusetts Regiment, prior to the Battle of Bristow Station, visited Brentsville to get bricks for the general. They saw a similar sight. The clerk of the county carelessly left all the county records and papers when he stepped out, and at this date they were in bad condition. The floors of 4 rooms were covered, fully 2 feet deep, with the papers and documents, some of great antiquity. Old deeds were plenty, signed by Lord Fairfax and others, granting large tracts of land to different parties. Marriage certificates of parties whose grandchildren, if they had any, have long since joined them in the tomb, and the millions of papers that would accumulate in such a place in 2 centuries of time. When next they begin to govern Prince William County, it is thought they will have to commence their county records where the war left off, and it is hoped they will appoint a county clerk who will take better care of his papers in future. In 1913, John Burns thoughtfully sent this ancient document to the editor of the Freelance Star in Fredericksburg. From there, it eventually ended up in the Central Rappahannock Heritage Center. The upper right section of the document has disappeared. It seems to be merely a summary of the metes and bounds that can also be seen on the plat itself, which is fortunately complete. The remaining text summarizes the lawsuit. Here's the opening paragraph of the text. Loudoun County. Sarah Fairfax, plaintiff, against John Janney, defendant, in ejectment. In obedience to an order of the Honorable District Court of Dumfries, dated the blank day of blank, 1799, and at the instance and in the presence of Ferdinando Fairfax, who acted for the plaintiff, and also in the presence of the defendant and others, on the 17th and 18th of October 1799, I surveyed as follows. A plat of a survey made by Colonel Elzey was put into my hands, which the parties are willing to refer to. I was directed to begin for the plaintiff at G and run the lines GH and HI with the variation required, viz. 4 degrees. Extending the line HI to 201 poles instead of 187 poles, and running with marked line tree zone, both courses, some of which blank younger than others. From I was directed to run a line of connect to Diggs line. Thence, from near I run south 71 3/4 degrees west with a marked line to a place pointed out by John Axline, from whence took the bearing of a marked line north 17 1/4 degrees west, as noted on plat. I was then directed to run several lines to lay down the places marked on plat. A and C, the defendant having no lines to run, directed me to lay down his pretensions agreeable to Mr. Elsey's survey. It's signed by Adam Householder and Levi Hole Tucker, who were the surveyor's chain carriers, and Jacob Matthias, the deputy high surveyor of Loudoun County. The plaintiff in this lawsuit was Sarah Fairfax, a wealthy widow. Born Sarah Sally Carey, she is believed to have been George Washington's first love. In 1748, she married Washington's neighbor and mentor, George William Fairfax. The couple lived at Belvoir in Fairfax County until 1773, when they removed to England. They never returned to Virginia. Her husband died in 1787. They had no children. This lawsuit concerned two large tracts that the Fairfaxes owned in northwest Loudoun County, called Shannondale Manor and Piedmont Manor. The Janney family owned a 1,303-acre grant between those two manors on the east side of Short Hill Mountain. Catesby Cock had been granted that tract in 1739 and had sold it to Abel Janney in 1754. Janney died in 1774, leaving it to his children, including son John Janney. The Fairfaxes claimed that the Janneys' land encroached on Fairfax lands. This lawsuit was to determine the legal boundaries between their properties. There should be a case in Loudoun County in which this lawsuit was begun. I have not found such a case in Loudoun County Order Books 1798 to 99. Neither is the case contained in Dumfries District Court Land Causes 1793 to 1811. The Dumfries District Court was the appellate court for Loudoun County. More research is needed to determine exactly what the outcome was. Thank you for listening to this presentation.